so many players just crumble. But I'll tell you, the key to success is more of what we saw from HuK. As you said, opening up Blink allows you to manipulate the ramp very nicely on a lot of these maps. Obviously on Frost, not nearly as big of a deal.
Yeah.
But it allows you to control the drop play, which is such a big staple of Polt's play. And then from there, if you can shut down several drops, like if that next big drop was actually feedback that shot down by Stalkers again, all of a sudden Polt's like, well, you know, I just lost half my army again. And then it becomes a little bit more likely that HuK can maintain the lead.
Beautiful game one, beautiful game one. But here we are in game number 2 of this best of 5. In the bottom right-hand location, I present your Protoss player who's currently down 0-1, but showed some really spectacular play in that first game 1. So he definitely has a chance. Do not count this guy out. Representing Team Evil Geniuses, he is HuK.
And in the lower left-hand side, the red Terran from CM Storm. Give it up for one of the fan favorites to win the tournament. It is Polt. And Polt, as you said, originally going to school to bring himself over here, but has since then said, pro gaming is for me. I'm going to give it at least a year of focus, and is now or has been, excuse me, for a few months now, a full-time pro gamer. And when this guy was going to school, living in a foreign country and figuring things out, he was still winning hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's scary to think what he could do this year as a dedicated full-time pro gamer.
Yeah, he's such a smart guy. Coming over, he went to the best university in Korea, I think, and then came over to attend the University of Texas. Okay.
Got some cheers.
Got some Longhorns in the audience.
I would hope so. We are in
Austin. So yeah, Polt literally went to school here in Austin, about probably 15 minutes away from here. And he actually lived here for a time too, obviously. So, you know, he's making that sacrifice, and a very smart guy, I guess is the point I'm trying to get to there. And now, I have a question for you, Jeff. Obviously, your history as a pro player, very good pro player. In that game 1, we saw Polt, we talked about it a lot, kind of splitting up his army. Attacking in a bunch of different directions. And to me, or to the typical StarCraft 2 player, it boggles my mind. It's like, how are these players able to just, you know, have so much control over all these armies, or over all these different facets of their army, and able to make them effective, able to hit at the perfect opportune moment? What's kind of going through Polt's mind, and what things is he doing to kind of make that kind of, it's like an orchestra, honestly, making it all kind of work together to pick apart his opponent?
Well, I mean, StarCraft 2 is such a gorgeous mechanical game that obviously it starts there. You talk about the speed, the APM, and the control, but one thing specifically to Polt that I really like when you bring up this great point is that Polt, he's kind of a mono build guy. He only has 1 or 2 builds per matchup, and a lot of people would look at that and say, well, that's not good. You want to keep your opponents guessing. You want to be unpredictable to a certain extent. But Polt is one of the only players I could name that has taken that and flipped it on its head and made success of it. You know what Polt's going to do, but because he does this 10 times more than anybody else, that what you just talked about, splitting up the army and having kind of the instinct to move it about in the right way, it's incredible. It's because he's out-practiced and outpaced everybody at it, so he has this like weird sixth sense. I mean, a lot of his drops do not get annihilated, and whereas every other Terran players do. It's because he's been doing this for years, every single time. He's never been like, well, I had a mech phase, or, you know, I was obsessed with Marines for a while, or I Ghost Rush. None of that. He's always done this.
Is under attack.
Ooh.
Experience, yeah. Just doing it over and over again, and then you get better at it. Polt has played a lot of games, and we'll have to see what he ends up doing in this game. But there's some interesting things happening here. Stalker and Zealot charging into the main base. Mothership core overhead as well. A couple Marines going to fall. What are you thinking about this, Jeff?
This is really cool if he would have came in and Polt is doing 1 Rax factory starport after the expand, or even before, because then the unit count is so low that it's amazing what a Mothership core and a Zealot and a Stalker, had he kept it alive, can do. But in this situation, you can see here, he gets a couple of Marines and has to run. And what did he give up for it? Well, he gave up energy off the Mothership core early game, which is critical, a Stalker, which obviously is literal cost, and then a Zealot, which is fairly disposable as long as it kills something. So that wasn't where the loss happened. So not the greatest. I still like that HuK tried it, because like I said, you could almost end a game with that right there. And he was still able to expand behind it. The other fear here too is the Reaper almost indefinitely delays that Nexus. That didn't end up being the case, but certainly not the best opening for HuK so far.
Of course, HuK, you know, what's going through his mind there, like he might just try to, it's kind of like with Jaedong, I guess. I think it's okay to make this comparison. When he made the hatchery in the natural of his opponent, you know, something in the early game to kind of mix things up a bit, or kind of get your opponent a little bit out of their comfort zone. So I think that kind of went into HuK's decision there as far as getting that early aggression done, maybe hoping Polt kind of, you know, loses focus a little bit, which, you know, I can't even imagine Polt losing focus. But again, that's something these StarCraft 2 players are definitely thinking about in these early games, just to try to give them a little bit of edge, at least on the mental side of things.
Well, you can see here, that's a slow stalker. It's going to be a dead stalker, but I do like the opening as we can see it progressing for the two players. On the one hand, you have Polt, who it looks like won't spot that pylon that's deathly close to him. And on the flip side, what did that scan reveal? Oh gosh. The scan just barely doesn't see the Twilight Council or the Dark Shrine. It's scouting ahead to see if this is a natural that it can go to work with, but with no missile turrets behind this, at the least, HuK will have map control, but at best, he could do a lot of damage. And this is one of the ways, in a best of 5, that you can throw off a potentially superior player in Polt.
See if he can minimize the damage. I think it's absolutely guaranteed that damage will be done here. Now, he might be getting ideas from what he's seeing in his opponent's unit composition, but you know, DTs aren't as hard to get out as they once were. So, you know, HuK able to get a lot of sentries out. Polt might be like, all right, that's a lot of gas that you're spending on that. Maybe not thinking about Dark Templars too much. Still no turrets going down back home. And DTs, they're starting to go to work. We have one at the natural expansion, a scan going down, a DT in the main base, looking at the workers killed count, up to 12 already here for HuK. And HuK doing a great job with these DTs.
This one DT, unfortunately, is going over here. He does have a scan, does Polt. He's just not using it just yet. And the DT will slip away to get back in the main. So much damage being done. Meanwhile, by the way, the army of Polt has been destroyed, actually. So Polt's on that back foot for sure. Another DT sneaks into the natural. It's going to get past the vision of the missile turret. Now, remember, the missile turret's vision's actually quite far, but in the back field over here, the DT is going to do more damage.
Oh, my God.
And he's going after Stim. If he can get Stim here, seconds before it concludes.
Oh, no. Oh, this is terrible for Polt. And Stim is taken out, and HuK is going to be fist pumping all over the place there after getting that. After getting that kill and that take. Again, that's one of the best feelings you can get. You know, when I was playing a lot, I tried to design builds to literally, my only purpose was to get that tech lab, and it involved like Immortals inside of War Prison. Really terrible builds, but I had a lot of fun with it. But the point is, getting Stim before, can you kind of talk about that, I guess?
Oh, I mean, Stim is the paramount upgrade for defense and offense, probably more so offense. It's just so important.
Yeah.
It's the catalyst for almost everything Terran can do, in particular Polt. So with that being delayed the way it was, I mean, it still hasn't been started. The tech lab only now remade. That means Polt essentially says, well, I have another 2 or 3 minutes before I can even think about getting on the map. And HuK can do so much with that. We can see a probe moving out. It's going to take a third Nexus. He's got charging coming as well as the Robo. And he's doing all of this very safely, knowing that he should not be in any danger. While Polt's army's large, without Stim, it's so susceptible to force fields, to time warp, to just almost everything.
I'm a little bit shocked he hasn't started Stim back up.
Oh, wow, and it can do that too. That's a mistake.
It's a huge mistake.
That's just a flat out a mistake from Polt.
So what probably happened here, he didn't notice it. Obviously, what did happen here, he did not notice that his tech lab was destroyed.
21 SCVs killed, by the way. Kind of deceiving when it's just a swipe of a sword. I didn't know there was going to be that many, but Polt is down in supply. He doesn't have Stim. It does get started here, so Polt fans take a sigh of relief, because as Axeltoss pointed out, one of the big concerns is that when a game's moving this fast and you're on your back foot like this, sometimes you flat out forget things like that. And it's happened before where it's like minute 15 and they're like, oh my God, I don't have Stim.
I mean, I'm gonna put myself out there. It's fine. Like, or forgetting Warp Gate, which I've done a couple of times. It's like you're trying to do a build and you forget Warp Gate. You're trying to, all your gateways are finishing, and then they're just awkwardly sitting there as gateways. You're like, all right, I'll make 4 sentries out of my gateways. I meant to do this.
Been there before. I think we all have. That's the worst one, actually, is Warp Gate. But we do have a Colossus coming out, but this force again without Stim.
Oh my God, he might get Stim again here.
Oh, that'd be amazing if he actually targets that down. There's just a lot of units up here, actually. I don't even know if Polt can deal with that. He's going to go after the third. There's a very real chance this third will get canceled. In fact, HuK's not moving out yet, so it will instantly get canceled, but so much damage inside the main. HuK actually going after the bunker. I think that's the worst target. He will eventually get it, and Stim's dead again.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Polt's just dead, guys, by the way. He's just dead.
Yeah.
DT's pretty good. I want someone to make the shirt that says DT's